Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Jadi di sini saya ingin menjelaskan untuk password. Dan di sini ada word-nya. Sebelumnya saya menjelaskan tentang password dulu ya. Speaking type of speaking that most type of can involve arguing about politics, talking about what to eat for dinner. Speaking is very connected to the audience as the speaker must, in a sense, make the audience halfway. Persuasion obviously is not the question of and organizations towards a speaker. Consequently, persuasive speaking requires audience analysis. Traditionally, persuasion involves ethos or credibility of the and or emotion. By performing these three elements competently, a speaker can enhance their persuasive power. Tips for persuasive speaking recognizes that the audience is constantly assessing what the speaker is saying. Nonverbal reactions are common for an audience listening to a persuasive speech. A forward brow, nodding head, or rolling eyes can be signal from audience members that they either like or dislike what the speaker is saying. Acknowledging the a certain identify the target audience in any speaking situation. There will be a subset of the audience that agrees, disagrees, and undecided about the preaching to the choir, speaking to persuade those that already believe the speaker might consolidate the audience, but has little benefit beyond that. Trying to persuade the segment of the audience that adamantly agrees with the perspective voice is generally unlikely or not. Therefore, a speaker ought to focus on the audience that is undecided on the issue. Speaking more directly to the group of undecided allows a speaker to track their concerns. The goals of the speech. Does the speaker want the audience boycott product, talk to their friends, buy a certain product, or some other action? Often, the conclusion enables a speaker to it is the culmination of a persuasive speech. Penjelasan tentang speaking to persuade. Terus di sini ada types of persuasive speeches. Yang A, speeches to influence thinking or modifying an attitude or belief. Yang B, speeches to motivate action or modifying an action. And then C, form of persuasive communication. Kita ada 7 tentang form of persuasive communication. So the change in the degree to which something is evaluated as favorable or unfavorable, creation of a new belief, change in the strength in an existing belief, the elimination of an existing belief, change in intention to perform a behavior, a change in the performance of an action, an abstention from an action previously performed. And then the psychology of persuasion. Itu langgain aja langsung ya, itu cuman psikologinya aja. Terus yang bawah juga ada di persuasion versus manipulation. To persuade means to appeal to reason and understanding. It does not mean to source, compel, or intimidate. Persuasion involves convincing members of an audience to agree of their own free will ethical use of logical reasoning. And manipulation involves swift or devious management of facts or effects for the speaker's own purpose. Unethical distortion of information. An ethical persuasion, the primary goal is to support your specific purpose with logical, consistent reasoning and arguments. Itu ada sampai I. Di sini baru E. Four factors that account for a speech being persuasive. Itu ada 4, bisa dibaca sendiri ya. Lalu yang F ada components of persuasive. Di situ ada 7 komponen, ada symbol, senders, and receive, message content, the interactions, the channels and or non-verbal, verbal, and visual, and the society and culture that influence the interactions, communication. Ya. Terus yang G ada pivotal question to ask in talk selection. Itu kayak pertanyaan gitu ya. Ada how important is the topic the audience, how knowledgeable is the audience about the topic, what is the prevailing audience attitude toward the topic. Contoh-contohnya ya. Kalian pahami. Lalu ada yang H, for ethical standards for argumentation. There's ability, research the no threat. To the of the instance look at use where the and conflict. Ini waktunya limit nggak sih? Ulang lagi dari awal nggak? Ya, Aul. Aul bolot.
Oke, next Miss. Next.
Next ya. Ya, sorry ya, tadi ada gangguan sinyal. Oh, sorry, ini saya nggak bisa share screen karena saya bukan hostnya.
Tunggu ya, Miss.
Ya.
Sudah, Miss.
Oke, bentar ya. Oke, tadi sampai yang AI ya. Nah, di sini ada 3 types of question that give rise to person. Di situ ada question of fake, terus question of value, question of policy. Nah, di situ ada penjabarannya lagi di situ ya. Nah, ada persuasive strategies. Number 1, knowing your audience. The analyst listeners use a persuasion scale, plan strategy. And number 2, building credibility. Explain your competence, be accurate, show your open-mindedness, show common ground with your audience. Number 3, the providing evidence. Number 4, using sound reasoning. Ada deduction, induction, and fallacious in reasoning. Number 4, appealing to motivation and some common motivation, how to motivate an audience, and number 6, arousing emotion. And then tips for using evidence. Use specific evidence that the evidence in terms that will relate to the audience. Incorporate statistical information whenever possible to quantify the evidence. Statistic increase the impact evidence. Number 2, use novel evidence. Use evidence that is new to your audience. Novel evidence help maintain interest. Number 3, use evidence from credible source. Evidence taken from well-known and credible source is often more persuasive. The listeners have a degree of trust for credible source. Number 4, make clear the point of your evidence. Be sure the evidence directly to the claim information to something that the audience members may have experienced. Number 5, when using evidence, make your claim first and then provide the supporting materials. By knowing where you're going with the information, the audience is better able to follow the reasoning of your message. Ada di bawah lagi ada using sound reasoning. Reasoning using logic to draw conclusion from evidence. And deduction. The power of a syllogism, deductive scheme consisting of major premise, a minor premise and conclusion. How to use a syllogism. Putting your audience reasoning into a syllogism help you plan your persuasive strategy. Putting your own thoughts into a syllogism helps you create a persuasive structure. Terus ada induction, reasoning from specific evidence to a general conclusion, the usefulness of induction, how to construct an inductive argument. A. Ask a question. Answer the question by collecting as much specific evidence as possible. Reach a conclusion based on evidence. Ini banyak materinya sekali. And appealing to motivation. Motivation the impulses and needs that stimulate a person to act in a certain way. What is motivation? Motivation is the human mobilization of physical and physiological energy in order to fulfill needs, driver, desires, and goals. Persuasion and interactive approach, Donald and Cable understanding motivation. Can you motivate someone? The answer is an empathic. No, motivation is something that comes from within the individual to prompt or incite an action. Motivation is a function of individual will. We do things because the outcome is spilling to us and serves as an incentive. People are motivated by unit needs, and those needs differ from individual to individual. People's background, education, work experience, and their individual personality styles. Jadi ya, jadi cukup sekian dari pembelajaran tentang speaking to persuade. Jadi saya cukup ya.
Oke, thank you, Miss.
Oke. Saya akhiri. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.